Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back in another Fortnite video. And in today's video I have some tips and tricks when it comes to aiming, and just some different things you can do and different things that you can keep in mind when it comes to aiming, just to help you guys improve your accuracy and just hit more shots in Fortnite. And before we get into the video, I have a V-Buck giveaway. If you guys want a chance to win some free V-Bucks, all you need to do is to drop a like on this video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on my notifications, and leave a comment down below of your Xbox gamer tag, PSN gamer tag, or Epic account. And as well, make sure you guys have me supported as a creator on the item shop. All you need to do this is go to the item shop, hit X, type in Young Humor. That's all you have to do, and you will have me added and supported as a creator. And alright guys, let's go right to the video. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about aiming in Fortnite and give you guys some tips and tricks when it comes to aiming to help you guys out. And first off, I would like to talk about, I think Epic made an update. I do believe it was yesterday, or it depends on when you're watching this video. But recently, Epic made an update, or one of the developers for it. They said they were going to be making changes to aim assist, and specifically nerfing aim assist. And that makes for a really interesting discussion, because nerfing aim assist, it does raise a lot of questions. And specifically just to what kind of nerfs they're going to be doing to aim assist. And I can't remember exactly, but if I remember right, I think they're going to be releasing an update. I do believe it was like 7.4 or one of those updates. So a update that's going to be coming out pretty shortly, and they're going to be making it something along the lines of trying to reduce, just spamming left trigger. And in my opinion, when it comes to spamming left trigger in Fortnite, it doesn't even work. And all the people you see in lobbies who just spam left trigger, they honestly just look really dumb, because it honestly doesn't even work. And all the top players in Fortnite, all the top console players, and not even console players, but all the top, PC and controller players, and just any controller player in general, the best controller players just know how to use aim assist, and they're not really just constantly spamming the left trigger, because it doesn't work. Because when it comes to aim assist, you at least have to be kind of close to the enemy when you're shooting it. So if you're just kind of shooting around them and just spamming left trigger, you're never going to lock onto them, and you're going to be missing shot after shot after shot, and it just honestly really is inconsistent. So when it comes to spamming left trigger, it's not even that effective. But one thing that really concerns me when it comes to doing this is, I assume, because when it comes to nerfing aim assist, when they said they're going to be nerfing the left trigger spam, I'm guessing it has to do something with, if you press it multiple times, then I guess gradually maybe you don't get aim assist, or maybe they kind of reduce it a little bit, which honestly kind of raises a lot of questions for me. Just because if I'm trying to shoot at multiple players, so if there's a guy on my right, so I look down, I take a shot at them, and then immediately I want to go ADS on the guy to the left of me, does that mean I'm not going to have aim assist on them, or is it going to be reduced? Is it going to mess up? And you guys can see where I'm going with this. It could be really bad for controller players, depending on how bad it is. And honestly, I think the best way to do it, if there really is a problem with left trigger spamming, which I really don't think there is, but say there is, and there's a lot of people who want it fixed, I mean, I say you can even take out aim assist after like the third, or I would say even like the fourth ADS in a row that you just spam. Because if you're ADSing really quick 4 times in a row, then that's just really unnecessary, and I guess might as well take out aim assist, because it doesn't work anyway. So you might as well just take it out after that. But if it's after like the second time you ADS, because if you're trying to switch between players quickly, and there's even a lot of times where I try to track an enemy, and when I go to track, when I go first to ADS, I'm completely off of them. I'm not exactly where I want to be, and I have to readjust my aim 2 or 3 times to line up the shot. And if that's really going to take out my aim assist, then trust me, I'm going to be missing a lot more shots. But those are just my thoughts and what I think could happen. I don't even know yet until it actually comes out. Then I'll probably make another video on it, going over it and explaining exactly what it is. But it's going to be an interesting update, and I do believe it's going to come out very shortly, which should be in the next few weeks or so. And with that being said about the update, I really don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But at the same time, you never know. It could be broken for the next 2 weeks until they fix it again. Because I can think of plenty of updates, just like the P90, where the update first came out and it was totally broken, it wasn't even fair, and then eventually they fixed it, they took it out, or they just nerfed it right, and it's probably going to be one of those things where, they're testing it out and see how it's working, and then eventually going to make updates towards it. But when it comes to aiming in Fortnite, and specifically when it comes to just hitting more shots in general, there's definitely a lot of things that you can do to improve your aim in Fortnite, but there's one thing specifically that I want to be covering in this video that's really important, and I feel like a lot of people haven't touched on it yet, And since now it's season 7 with a lot of updates in the game, I really think when it comes to aiming, I think aiming is even more, or at least equally as important as building. You gotta be able to hit your shots in Fortnite, because you can be a really good builder, you can be really good at double 90s, good at editing, but if you can't hit your shots in Fortnite, you're not gonna be able to win a lot of gunfights, and just not be able to win consistently. So there is a lot of factors, and I think aiming is one of the most important things that you guys need to have down when it comes to this game. And I've also made quite a few aiming videos in the past where I cover a lot of different things when it comes to aiming, but there's one thing in particular I haven't covered yet, and that one thing is when it comes to aiming, if you want to be able to hit more shots, you have to keep in mind is when you're going for those shots, is that the more still you are, the more accurate you're going to be. And here's what I mean by that. So back when I used to play Call of Duty, that's the game I played before Fortnite. I played a ton of Call of Duty. I was really good at the game. I was rocking a 4 KD. I was a super sweaty pub stomper, and I pretty much did the same thing in Fortnite. I kind of just play a lot of pubs and then just pop off in that. But when it comes to aiming in Call of Duty, there's one thing in particular that I did. And just for my playstyle on Call of Duty, I would sit back a little bit with the assault rifle and then go for streaks. I wouldn't play too aggressive, even though I could if I needed to, but I kind of sat back a little bit with the AR just to hit my shots. And in Black Ops 2, there's a attachment for your weapons, and it's called the stock. And basically what that does is it makes you able to move faster while you're aiming down your sights. So if you're moving left to right while you're aiming down your sights, it makes you more quicker, and in turn it makes you more accurate because it's called strafing. And you basically just move back and forth. It helps you adjust your aim because you don't have to move your joystick anywhere, which could be a real pain, because if you're just constantly moving your stick to hit your shots, it's going to be very difficult, because it's a lot easier to aim when you're moving your body than it is just to move the stick. And this might be something that you guys haven't noticed yet in my videos, but when I go to line up shots from a little bit longer of a distance, typically I don't just use my right stick. And so the reason is, say if I see a guy in the distance, or if I'm trying to line up a shot, normally what I would do is I would aim as close as I can to him. I would try to be on target, and if I'm a little bit off target, say I'm just a few inches off, or I'm barely just off of hitting them, what I'm going to do instead of just moving over a little bit with the right stick, the right analog stick, because moving over a little bit with the left analog stick can be kind of challenging, because there's been a lot of times where I try to line up a shot, then I try to move the right stick over a little bit, and then I completely whiff the shot, I flick it, or I just do something really dumb. But instead I use the movement stick, I use the left stick just to scoot my body over a little bit, just to readjust my aim, and that is a lot easier for me than just aiming with the right stick alone, because once I have that left stick to kind of move it, I can get a little bit more precise with my aim, and it just overall really helps me to line up my shots. But the thing is, when it comes to doing something like that, it could cost you, because once you move in this game, you do lose your first shot accuracy, which is a huge thing in this game. If you're trying to line up a shot from long distance, or you're just trying to get that first shot off, you always want to try to use first shot accuracy. If not, you're pretty much just relying on luck at that point with Bloom, because Bloom is so unpredictable in this game that honestly, if you really want to line up your shots as much as possible, try to have your target on them and just using that first shot accuracy. And to be honest, I feel like that's probably the main reason why controller players have aim assist, and why it's so important is because when it comes to just lining up those shots, just trying to move in between those little movements is very difficult for controller players, because I've been playing on controller for like 8 years and it's still a very hard movement to get down, and I honestly still don't have it down. I'm missing a ton of shots, and once you have a mouse, you have a lot more control over your aim. And trust me, the first time I played with a mouse and keyboard, I was so bad I couldn't aim for anything, just because I've never played on it before and I've been playing with a controller for 8 years, so you can just kind of see how that goes. So playing with the mouse, it's going to be a lot easier to control, and it's also a lot more consistent as well, because the movement's always going to be the same. And when it comes to aiming with the right stick, it could be a little bit inconsistent, because sometimes you might move it over a little bit too much and completely choke your shot. But long story short, if you want to hit your shots more in Fortnite, you just have to understand that you have to stand as still as possible, and that could just be lining up first shot accuracy, because the more you move around, the bigger your crosshair is going to get, which is going to cost you to lose a lot more shots. And I really do believe this is a key concept when it comes to aiming that I really didn't think about until recently, just because if you want to hit more shots, you have to leave yourself more open, because the more still you are trying to line up your shot, the other player is going to have that same advantage on you either way. So with that being said, that's a wrap it up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope this video helped you guys out. And if you could, drop a like in this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on my notifications so you're notified for every single new video. And alright guys, I'll see you in the next video.